There is no sound when you arrive. No engines cooling, no doors opening, no echo of your presence touching the ground. Mars does not welcome visitors with noise. You are simply here. The ground beneath you is firm, but not cold in the way metal is cold. It feels ancient, dry, as if it has been waiting without expecting anything in return. You stand still for a moment because there is no reason to rush. Nothing on Mars moves quickly. Even time feels different here, stretched thin, like a long breath held gently. The sky above you is not black, it is not blue, it is a muted shade of rusted dusk, a color that feels closer to memory than to light. And there is silence. Not the silence of a quiet room, not the silence of a paused conversation. This is a wider silence, a silence with distance inside it. On Earth, silence is always temporary. There is always something about to happen, a sound waiting just beyond your attention. Here, nothing is waiting. The wind moves slowly, carrying dust that has been circling this planet for millions of years. When it passes, it does not howl. It whispers, not to you, but through the landscape itself. You realize something subtle. Mars does not react to your presence. It does not care that you are standing here, and strangely, that feels comforting. There is no performance required, no role to play, no urgency, just standing. The horizon stretches farther than your mind expects, without trees, without cities, without anything breaking the view. The planet feels open in a way Earth never does. On Earth, the world is always filled with movement, with signals, with reminders that you are being observed, measured, expected. Here, none of that exists. You are alone, but not in danger. You are insignificant, but not erased. Mars has held this silence long before you arrived. It will hold it long after you leave. You take a slow breath, not because you need oxygen, but because your body remembers the habit of breathing when it feels safe. The ground beneath you is covered in fine dust. Each grain is shaped by wind, by time, by patience. No rivers rush here anymore, no waves break, and yet the planet does not feel dead. It feels paused, as if something once happened here and then gently stopped. You begin to walk. Each step is careful, not because the ground is fragile, but because the moment feels delicate. Your movement feels louder than it should be, even though there is no sound. Mars does not echo footsteps. The planet absorbs them. Ahead of you, the land rises into shallow ridges, not mountains, not hills, just slow changes in elevation, like the surface of a sleeping body. You realize that nothing here is sharp. Even the rocks appear softened by time. On Earth, erosion is fast. Rain, ice, roots, all working constantly. Here, erosion happens slowly, almost politely. The rocks have learned patience. As you walk, you notice how empty the sky feels. There are no birds, no aircraft trails, no blinking lights, just space. And somewhere within that space, far away, is Earth. You do not look for it. There is no need. Mars invites you to let go of comparison. This is not a place to measure, not a place to analyze. It is a place to notice. You stop walking. You stand again. The silence deepens, not because anything changes, but because you are no longer resisting it. Your thoughts begin to slow. Not forced, not pushed, they simply lose momentum. On Earth, thoughts bounce off noise. Here, they fall into space and dissolve. You remember something important. Silence is not empty, it is spacious. Mars offers space. Space to breathe without effort, space to exist without definition. You feel smaller here, but lighter. The planet does not judge your pace.
It does not ask where you are going. There is nowhere to go. The idea of progress loses meaning. This is not a journey forward, it is a settling. As if your mind is gently placing itself down on the surface of the planet, matching its stillness. You notice the sky slowly shifting color, not dramatically, just slightly. Mars does not rush sunsets. The light fades in long, patient gradients. The shadows stretch but never hurry. And with the fading light, the silence becomes even more complete. You become aware of your own presence in a new way, not as a person with a history, not as a collection of responsibilities, but as a quiet point of awareness, standing on a planet that has no expectations. Mars does not need you. And because of that, you are free. Your shoulders relax, your jaw softens, even your eyes feel heavier, as if the planet itself is inviting them to rest. You could lie down here. The thought arrives gently, not as an action, just as a possibility. The ground would hold you. It has held nothing else for a very long time. As the light continues to dim, stars begin to appear. Not all at once, one by one. Mars does not reveal the sky suddenly, it lets it unfold. The stars look sharper here. Not brighter, clearer. There is less atmosphere to blur them, to soften their edges. Each point of light feels precise, distant, calm. You recognize some of them. Others feel unfamiliar, and that unfamiliarity is soothing. Your mind stops naming, stops categorizing. It simply watches. Above you, the sky feels larger than it ever did on Earth, not because there are more stars, but because there are fewer distractions. Nothing competes with them. No city glow, no noise, no movement, just light that has traveled for years, arriving quietly, without announcement. You realize something else. Mars does not feel lonely. Loneliness requires expectation. Mars expects nothing. It simply is. And in that simplicity, there is peace. Your breathing slows naturally, not because you are trying to relax, but because there is nothing left to respond to. No alerts, no urgency, no demand. Your body recognizes this environment as safe in a very old way, older than language, older than thought. You are standing on a planet that once had rivers, that once had warmth, that once had potential. But it does not feel sad about what it lost. Mars does not grieve, it accepts. And in that acceptance, it teaches something quietly. Not everything needs to continue to be meaningful. Some things are allowed to simply stop. And that thought settles deep inside you. Your mind loosens its grip. Your thoughts grow further apart. Long pauses appear between them. And in those pauses, there is rest. You remain standing there under the darkening sky on a world that does not rush, does not ask, does not care. And somehow that makes everything feel okay. For now, there is nothing else to do. No next step, no next thought. Just this. Stillness. Silence. Mars.
A Martian night does not come suddenly. The light withdraws without haste, as if the sky wishes to act gently, not to hurt the day. The horizon line blurs, the red tones deepen, and finally, Mars accepts its own darkness. This darkness is not like Earth's night. Earth's night is full, with sounds, with life, with movement. A Martian night carries emptiness. But this emptiness is not frightening. On the contrary, it is vast, it is comforting. As if the darkness does not pull you in, it makes room for you. The sky is now completely filled with stars, but the stars here are more distant, clearer, calmer. None of them flicker. The atmosphere does not distort them.
Each one is where it is. So are you. The wind moves again, but this time slower, deeper. The Martian wind does not whistle. It does not scatter leaves. It makes no sound. It simply passes. It glides over the soil, takes the dust, then releases it. Nothing is held on this planet. And perhaps for this reason, you too stop holding on. The weight you carry on your shoulders dissolves without you noticing. Your mind loosens the ropes it has been tightening for a while. Thoughts still come, but they no longer stay. They come and they pass. A Martian night does not cling to thoughts. You do not have to cling either. After a while, you realize that your perception of time has changed. Minutes, hours, lose their meaning. On Mars, night is not a process. It is a state. Nothing needs to begin or end. It simply is night. Two small shadows appear in the sky, Phobos and Deimos, Mars's two small moons. They too are silent. They too are not in a hurry. Phobos is fast but not rushed. As it passes through the sky, it is barely noticed. Deimos is farther away, slower, more patient. They are like the sky's clocks, but they do not measure time. They only remind that everything moves, but nothing has to. As you watch them, you notice something. On Mars, loneliness is not a lack. Loneliness here is a condition, a natural state. It does not wait for anyone to come. It does not grieve anyone's leaving. It simply is. And this loneliness does not settle into you like a heavy silence. On the contrary, it lightens you. On Earth, loneliness is often noisy. Your mind speaks, memories shout, questions demand answers. On Mars, loneliness is silent. It does not ask questions, it does not demand answers. It simply accompanies. This companionship slows you down without you noticing. Your heartbeat becomes more regular, your breathing deeper, less labored. A Martian night does not impose a rhythm on the body, it listens to the body. At some point, you realize you are sitting on the ground. You do not remember how it happened. You did not make a decision, it simply happened. The soil is cool, but not harsh. The dust gently receives your weight. When you lean back, the sky completely fills your field of vision. There is no ground now, no direction, only up, and up is a depth without end. The Milky Way seen from Mars is paler, but it is like a clearer line, as if the sky does not try to hide itself. No light pollution, nothing to conceal. Everything is as it is. In the face of this sight, your mind strangely falls silent because it cannot find words to describe. It falls silent before vastness, and silence sometimes is the greatest relief. A Martian night teaches you this. Not everything needs to be meaningful. Not everything has to have an explanation. Some things are simply lived, and after being lived, they are released. After a while, as you gaze at the stars, thoughts about yourself diminish without you noticing. Who you are, what you do, what you will become, these questions drift away as if they do not belong to you. Mars does not take your identity from you, but it reduces your need to cling to it. There is no role here. There is no I narrative. There is only existence. This existence is silent and light. As time passes, the sky deepens further. The stars do not multiply, but you begin to notice more of them. The space between them, that darkness is as important as light. A Martian night does not present darkness as an enemy, it offers it as a space. Darkness here is not a cover, not a void. It is a resting place. Your mind does the same. It does not cover things up, does not suppress. It simply stops. At some point, your eyelids grow heavy, but you do not have to sleep. Mars does not force you.
Stay awake if you wish, let go if you wish. Both states are accepted. The wind passes once more, this time weaker, as if the planet too has grown tired, as if it too has leaned into the night. A Martian night slows down with you, and this slowing is contagious. Thoughts no longer turn into words, they come only as a feeling, an expansion, a relaxation, a sense of okay. Nothing is resolved, but nothing needs to be resolved. On this planet, everything is as it is, and you too are as you are. This thought echoes in a deep place within you. Then it too fades. A Martian night does not hold echoes. It only leaves silence, and that silence carries you.
On Mars, after a certain point, time loses its function. There are no hours, nor an expected morning. Night expands within itself, stretches, then loses its meaning. The question, how long have you been here, is now meaningless, because on Mars, duration is not kept. There are only states, and you are inside one of those states. The sky is still full of stars, but you no longer look at them one by one. Your gaze has also slowed. Your eyes do not fixate on a point. They take in the entire sky as a whole. This is not looking, it is allowing the stars to exist, allowing silence to exist, not even touching your own existence. A Martian night does not lock you into a now. On the contrary, it dissolves the concept of now. On Earth, time is constantly reminded with calendars, with notifications, with clocks. On Mars, time is not reminded, because here it is not something that needs to be forgotten. Time here is not a pressure, it is a flow. But that flow, too, gradually dissolves. At some point, you realize that thoughts about the past are not coming. Memories have not disappeared, but they are not being summoned. The future is equally silent. Plans, possibilities, probabilities, none of them find you. A Martian night does not knock on your mind's door. It only enters if it finds it open, and you no longer hold the door.
On Mars, there is no such thing as waiting, but there is stopping. On Earth, waiting always carries an expectation for something to come, for something to end, for something to change. On Mars, however, nothing needs to come, and nothing needs to go either. Here, stopping is not an interval, not a lack, not a preparation at all. Stopping is the state itself. As the Martian night progresses, you realize that time has not only dissolved, it has become completely meaningless. The word later no longer works. Your mind builds no structure related to the future, because on Mars, the future is not summoned, and what is not summoned does not come. This state is peaceful, because waiting is exhausting, and Mars does not want exhaustion. Here, nothing is late, nothing is delayed, nothing is missed. On Mars, there is no moment that can be missed. Everything is already here. At this point, the body stops waiting. Your muscles are no longer ready for something. You do not stand as if you are going somewhere. You are not on alert as if something is about to happen. The body, for the first time, is ready not to be ready. This is a very deep relaxation, but it goes unnoticed, because on Mars, even noticing is soft. After a while, thoughts become even more sparse. Thoughts no longer come, but even if they do, they cannot hold on. They land like a bird and immediately fly away. Your mind does not follow them. Following requires effort. Mars does not know effort. At this point, silence is no longer the background. It has moved to the foreground. But it is not disturbing. On the contrary, it is like a blanket that wraps around you without suffocating. A Martian night does not tell anything. There is no story, no words, not even meaning.
but everything is complete. This sense of completeness does not come from outside. It is not produced inside either. It simply occurs. On Mars, there is no waiting because there is no expectation. And where there is no expectation, there is no disappointment. This is a state the mind rarely experiences because the mind usually always expects something, an answer, approval, a result, the next step. Mars breaks this chain, and when the chain breaks, the mind becomes free. But this freedom is not about movement. It is not like a relief either. It is more a release. After a while, you realize you are not thinking that you should not think anything. This is very important because most of the time, even trying to relax is an effort. On Mars, you do not try to relax. Relaxation comes on its own. And when it comes, it is silent. The sky is now very deep, but you are not looking. Your eyes may be open, but they do not want to see. Your gaze no longer turns outward. It does not turn inward either. It simply hangs suspended. This suspended state is very close to sleep, but there is still consciousness. This consciousness does not think, it only feels, but it does not name what it feels either. A Martian night is where consciousness stops speaking and begins to listen, but there is no voice being listened to, only existence. The planet's existence, your existence, both are silent, and this silence is harmonious. The surface of Mars is still cold, but the cold is no longer felt because the body has stopped fighting the environment. Harmony here is not a decision, it is a result. After a while, you notice your breath has slowed even more, but even this noticing is brief because watching the breath is also work, and on Mars there is no work. Everything has been freed from duty. At some point, you notice this. Your mind no longer says I, but you do not feel lost either. Identity is dissolving, but the sense of security is increasing. Because on Mars, identity is not something that needs to be protected. Identity here is quietly set aside, just like taking off a heavy jacket. The jacket is still yours, but it is not worn right now. At this point, dream-like images may come, but they are not clear, they are not sharp, they are more like shadows, a shape, a feeling, a color, but you do not capture any of them, because a Martian night opens the door to dreaming, but does not let you in, not yet. This is a threshold state, the last wide space before falling into sleep, and in this space, nothing asks you anything. Mars does not call you, does not guide you, does not direct you. It simply stands beside you. This standing together is very deep because people rarely experience being together without doing anything. Mars does not teach this, does not force it. It simply creates the environment, and you dissolve in that environment. After a while, you realize that not only are thoughts not coming, but even if they do, they no longer form sentences. Words dissolve. Meaning does not fragment, but it ceases to be a need. Your mind stops producing words, and without words, the inner voice also falls silent. This silence is not frightening, because it has been preparing for a long time.
On Mars, sleep does not come. Sleep is already there. It simply does not need to be noticed. At this point, your mind is no longer occupied with anything, but it is not empty either. Emptiness feels like a lack. Here, there is no lack, only fullness, but undefined. In the Martian night, consciousness begins to withdraw, but this is not a closing. No curtain falls, no door closes. It is as if the light is gradually dimmed, but darkness does not come. Seeing diminishes, but does not disappear. Thought dissolves, but does not completely vanish. Everything softens. This softening begins with the body. Your muscles no longer have a shape,
no posture, as if the body has forgotten its own boundaries. It does not know where it begins, where it ends. This state is not disturbing. On the contrary, it is safe. Because on Mars, nothing squeezes you. Even gravity does not press you down. It only holds. The body no longer feels it touching the bed. The bed also ceases to be an object. You may feel as if there is nothing beneath you, but you do not fall, because falling requires direction. In the Martian night, there is no direction. Time has now completely dissolved. You do not know how many minutes have passed, and you do not want to know, because knowing is about control, and control is now very far away. At this point, dreams are not yet images. They are more a field of feeling, like an emotion but with no name, like warmth but not warm, like remembering but with no memory. This state is the birth moment of dreaming, but it has not yet taken shape. On Mars, dreams do not rush. Nothing is born quickly. After a while, your mind stops doing this. Am I asleep? This question does not come, because questions require language, and language has long since dissolved. There is no inner voice now, only a silent flow. This flow does not take you anywhere, but you do not stay anywhere either. The suspended state deepens. Consciousness continues to withdraw, but still does not completely leave. This is a very delicate balance. The Martian night does not disturb this balance. On Earth, this moment is usually missed because the mind either holds on or forces. On Mars, neither exists. This is why sleep comes in its most natural form. At some point, thought no longer forms at all. But this is not noticed, because the structure that notices has also dissolved. This is not the "I fell asleep" moment. This is the moment when sleep has already begun. Dreams now begin to take shape, but they are still not clear. Images are blurred, transitions are soft. Something begins but does not end. Something happens but is not completed. Martian dreams do not tell stories. They do not set scenes. They only leave feelings, and this feeling is safe. A deep safety, as if something is carrying you, but you do not know what. You do not need to know either, because the thing carrying you is not in your control. In the Martian night, control has long been released. Breath is no longer watched, but it continues. The heart is no longer felt, but it beats. The body has completely taken over its own rhythm. The mind is not even a spectator anymore. The stage has emptied. At this point, if a fragment of thought comes, it immediately disperses, cannot hold on, cannot form a sentence, cannot start a story, because storytelling requires wakefulness. The Martian night does not want wakefulness. This is the threshold of deep sleep, but still gentle, not forceful. Nothing has to happen. This is why it happens. After a while, consciousness completely withdraws, but you do not notice this, because there is no structure left to notice. After this moment, the Martian night does not let you go, but you are no longer you. Identity, name, time, space, all melt into a soft mist, and sleep is now complete, deep, uninterrupted, but not heavy. On Mars, sleep is not a fall, it is a swim, a silent, dark, but safe swim. At this point, one must stop, because what comes after cannot be told, and it should not be told. There is one more section, but that section is not for words.
Mars never rushed. Not while forming, not while cooling, not while being buried in silence. Its time does not resemble the time humans know. Here there are no seconds, no minutes either. Here time is not a flow, but a state. What you feel when looking at the Martian surface is not passing. It is not even continuing. It is simply a state of being there. The human mind is accustomed to beginnings and endings. Something begins, something ends. But Mars does not appear to have begun. It does not appear to be ending either, as if it has always been there. This feeling slows the mind. Because there is no event to follow, no story flows, there is no climax. There is only existence. This is why people who look at Mars for a long time slow down without noticing. Heartbeats may not change, but perception changes. The speed inside the mind first loosens, then dissolves, and at some point stops. Wind blows on Mars, but this wind does not give a sense of movement like on Earth. Dust rises, the surface changes, but there is no sound. Or if there is, it is not heard. This silent movement makes one feel this. Everything happens exactly as much as it needs to. Not more, not less. Traces on the Martian surface remain for thousands of years. A footprint, the rolling of a stone. On Earth they would be erased, but here they remain. In places where time flows heavily, traces do not disappear. And this tells the mind, if there is no rush, there is no forgetting either. This idea pushes one into a deep calm, because most anxiety arises from the feeling of catching up to something, to a time, to an expectation. On Mars, there is no such thing. The planet does not expect speed from you. It does not want you to think or to understand, only to be there. After a while, you notice your mind has slowed on its own, but even noticing this requires too much effort, so you do not notice. Your mind enters a soft mist. Thoughts lose their sharpness, their edges round off, just like the rocks on Mars, cornerless, soft, surrendered to time. In this section, you do not need to carry any information. Mars's age, its surface, its atmosphere. These are not important. The only important thing is this. Some places remind one not to rush, and Mars is the quietest of them all.
After a certain point, the mind stops asking questions. This is not a decision. It is not a choice at all. It simply happens. When thinking about Mars, curiosity comes at first. What kind of place is it? What happened? What is there now? But after a while, these questions evaporate, because answers are not comforting. What is comforting is not asking questions. Mars does not give answers to the mind. It has no concern with giving answers anyway. It simply stands there. And this standing invites one into an inner silence. The mind is usually full, memories, plans, possibilities, but the thought of Mars opens gaps between them. These gaps can be disturbing at first because the mind does not know what to do with emptiness. But then it gets used to it, and emptiness ceases to be a burden. It becomes a resting place. Thoughts no longer form a line. They do not follow one another. They come, stop, go. There is no meaningful connection between them. This is a state very similar to sleep, but it is not yet sleep. This is the threshold of sleep. Like the Martian night, there is no light, but darkness is not dominant either. A gray space, a transition. In this transition, the mind releases control. When control is released, the body relaxes. The spine leans more into the surface. Muscles give up holding. The face becomes expressionless. This expressionlessness is not fatigue. On the contrary, it is the end of effort. Mars appears as if there is no life, but in reality, it is outside the concept of life. And this gives one an interesting sense of freedom,
because it reminds that not everything needs to be alive, moving, productive. Sometimes simply stopping is enough. What the mind does at this point is this: it withdraws. It does not push forward, does not interfere. It only watches. But even watching slows down. After a while, watching also dissolves. Only the state remains. This state has no name. Calling it relaxation is not enough. Calling it sleep is too early. This is transition, the thing Mars knows best. Planets, and people too, fall silent in transitions, and in this silence, nothing is forced. This section can stop here, because stopping is the thing that suits Mars most.
If you have come this far, your mind is no longer searching for answers. Even questions are moving more slowly. Perhaps some thoughts are dissolving before completion. This is a good thing, because to understand Mars, you do not need to know much about it. To understand Mars, remaining silent for a while is enough. Mars does not speak, but when it is silent, it says much. When you look at Mars, the first thing you notice is the absence of movement. There is no hurried sound of wind, no repeating rhythm of waves, no small tremors wandering among tree leaves. On Mars, sound is not a habit. There, everything stands in place. And this standing creates an unexpected effect in the human mind, because we are beings constantly stimulated on Earth. Sounds, notifications, thoughts, expectations, none of them stop. But Mars does not respond to any of these. Mars is a planet that slows the human mind. The surface of Mars at first glance appears empty, but this emptiness is not absence. This emptiness is waiting, a waiting that has lasted billions of years. Rocks do not shift, valleys do not widen, mountains do not rush. On Mars, time does not progress. Time has settled. And this creates a strange relaxation within a person, because on Mars, nothing asks anything of you. On Earth, wherever you are, something expects from you, an answer, a reaction, a decision. On Mars, however, nothing expects from you. It simply accepts your existence. The sky of Mars is not like Earth's sky. It is not blue, not bright, not soft. The sky is full of dust. Light comes refracted. This is why on Mars, shadows are not sharp. Everything is a bit blurred, a bit scattered, a bit like a dream. This blur also softens something in the human mind. Sharp thoughts, clear judgments, harsh decisions, all of them dissolve a little. Imagine walking on Mars. Beneath your feet, a thin layer of dust. With each step, a red cloud slowly rising. No sound, no echo, only your own breath. But after a while, you no longer notice even your breath, because Mars does not want to be noticed. Mars wants to be forgotten. On Mars, night is much deeper. Stars appear harder. Because the atmosphere is thin, light is less filtered. This is why the sky feels as if it is closer, but at the same time, more distant. This contradiction does not occupy the mind, it only calms. On Mars, loneliness is not something painful, because there, loneliness is not a lack. Loneliness is the natural state. On Earth, loneliness is usually felt like a void. On Mars, however, loneliness is a full silence. On the surface of Mars, there are traces of water once flowing, dried riverbeds, carved valleys, silent deltas. But these traces do not want to tell anything. They simply stand as if saying, I was here once. I am not anymore, and that is okay. This sentence comforts a person inside because it reminds that not everything needs to continue. There is no life on Mars, but this does not mean life never existed. Mars is the withdrawn state of life, as if the universe stopped at some point and said, "Let us stop here. Let us rest a little." Mars's strongest effect is making a person stay with themselves. But this is not a forceful confrontation. Mars does not question you, does not judge, does not define. It simply stands beside you, silently. After a while, your mind notices this. Thoughts are not coming as fast as before. The space between them is longering, and this space is not disturbing. On the contrary, it is comforting. There are no clocks on Mars. There is day, there is night, but time is not tracked. This is why Mars teaches a person this: not everything has to be measured. The color of Mars is red, but this redness is not a vibrant color. It's more like a faded memory. This also reminds a person some things are valuable even when they do not shine. Storms happen on Mars, but these storms are not noisy like those on Earth. Dust slowly rises, visibility decreases, everything becomes even more silent, as if the planet is withdrawing into itself. This also whispers to a person, sometimes a storm calms even more. Mars reduces a person's need for control, because there is nothing to control. Everything is already as it is. When you imagine staying on Mars for a while, you realize this: your need to explain yourself diminishes. Your need to prove yourself diminishes. Your need to correct yourself diminishes. Simply existing becomes enough. Living on Mars is not possible, but resting on Mars mentally is possible, because Mars teaches a person this: not everything has to continue. The purpose of this section was not to give more information about Mars. The purpose of this section was to make you notice the emptiness Mars leaves in you, because sometimes emptiness heals. Now, if your eyes have become a bit heavy, this is completely normal. If words are flowing a bit, this is also normal. Mars does not speed up the mind. Mars dissolves the mind. In the next interlude, we will go a little deeper into this silence. But for now, breathe in, breathe out slowly. Mars does not hurry, and you do not have to either.
If you have come this far, you are no longer paying attention. You are not listening. You are simply passing through. This is also good, because Mars is not a place that demands attention. Mars loves to be forgotten. On Mars, time ceases to be a concept. On Earth, time is always about catching up with things, the next hour, the next day, the next plan. On Mars, however, there is no next. There is only now. But this now is not a fleeting moment. This now is like a settled state. Imagine standing at a point on Mars. Nothing is happening. But this is not an empty nothing. This is a completed stillness. The surface of Mars does not like movement. A stone can stay in the same place for thousands of years. A trace is not erased by the wind. A shadow slides slowly but does not disappear. This is why Mars does not teach patience. Mars eliminates the need for patience. On Mars, waiting is not an action. On Mars, waiting is the natural state. The mind is accustomed to constantly doing something on Earth, thinking, planning, remembering, solving. On Mars, however, thoughts become functionless, and this lack of function is comforting, because for the first time, nothing is expected of your thoughts.
On Mars, nights are long. When the sun retreats behind the horizon, light does not completely disappear. Dust holds the light. This is why even darkness is soft, not sharp, not frightening, as if the planet is saying, "I am here." The silence of Mars affects not the ears, but the mind. After a while, you begin to stop hearing even your own inner voice, and in that moment, a relief comes, because a person's most exhausting sound is their own inner voice. Mars does not silence this voice, but it makes it insignificant. When walking on Mars, your steps do not need to arrive anywhere. There is no place to arrive at anyway. This is why steps are purposeless, and purposelessness is liberating. When you look at the sky on Mars, you do not search for meaning as on Earth. Constellations do not tell stories. Stars do not want names. They simply stand there. Looking at stars on Mars is not thinking about the future. Looking at stars on Mars is staying in the present. The cold of Mars is not harsh. It is more like a constant coolness. It neither increases nor decreases. This also teaches a person not every feeling has to fluctuate. On Mars, storms sometimes envelop the entire planet, but even these storms are not hurried. Dust rises slowly. The sky disappears slowly. Everything is erased slowly. This slowness is not frightening. It is hypnotic. Getting lost on Mars does not create panic because the concept of direction loses its importance. Every place resembles one another, and this similarity comforts a person because you do not have to be noticed. Mars allows a person to be invisible. This is a rare thing on Earth. On Mars, the past is not a burden because the past is everywhere on the planet. Dried rivers, cracked grounds, aged surfaces. But these carry no regret. There is only the calm of having been. Mars reminds not everything has to continue, but stopping is not an end either. After a while, your mind realizes this. Thoughts are not coming on their own. You need to summon them, but you do not want to summon. And this feels like freedom. On Mars, a moment comes when you stop thinking about yourself, who you are, what you do, what you will become. All of it becomes insignificant, and this insignificance brings lightness. Spending time on Mars is not distancing yourself from yourself. On the contrary, it is stopping to busy yourself with yourself. Mars does not teach anything. Mars does not tell anything. Mars does not demand anything. And perhaps this is why it is so restful for the human mind. In this section, there was no information, no numbers, no dates, no definitions, because the task of this section was not to give information. The task of this section was to slow the mind a bit more. Now, if words are coming a bit scattered, this is also right. On Mars, nothing is clear, and not being clear is sometimes good. In the next main section, we will begin to look at Mars not from the outside, but from within a person. But for now, breathe in, breathe out slowly. Time does not wait for you on Mars, but you do not have to chase time either.
Now words are becoming lighter. Even sentences are slowing down. The spaces between them are lengthening. The Martian night stops speaking because there is nothing left to tell. Everything has settled where it needs to be. The mind has been in the background for a while. Now it is completely withdrawing. But this is not a disappearance. This is like something that has completed its task quietly stepping aside. On Mars, no one silences the mind. The mind is already tired. And what is tired does not resist. It releases. At this point, dreams are no longer uncontrolled, but they are directionless. You do not know you are in a dream, but you are not awake either. This state is one of the safest states in the world, because there are no decisions, no expectations, no need to catch up to anywhere. The Martian night asks nothing of you. You do not need to remember. You do not need to understand. You do not need to follow. Simply being there is enough. But there is not even a place. It is a state, a relaxation, a dissolution. After a certain point, dreams become clearer, but you do not remember that you were watching them, because watching requires a center. The center no longer exists. On Mars, night progresses, but progressing is not a movement. It is simply an imperceptible change. Hours pass, but time does not pass, because when time is not measured, it does not flow. It simply is. This is why on Mars, sleep is deep at night, but not heavy, silent, but not empty, restful, but not forced. The body now does its own work completely. Cells renew, muscles relax, the nervous system calms, and you control none of this. It happens because you do not control it. This is sleep in its purest form. After a while, thoughts completely disappear. But you do not say there are no thoughts, because even saying requires a thought. This silence is indefinable, but it is not disturbing, because there is no threat within it. The Martian night knows no threat. Red soil, cold air, silent sky, all say the same thing. You are here, and that is enough. At this point, the story does not end, but it does not continue either. It simply stops, just like your breath stops for a moment and then continues on its own. If you still feel something right now, this is not a problem. If you feel nothing, this is also not a problem. The Martian night does not care about the outcome, because outcome belongs to wakefulness. Sleep is not a process, it is a state, and this state is with you now. There is no need for guidance anymore, no need for telling anymore. Words too can sleep now. Mars is leaving its silence to you, and you can rest without going anywhere.
When we think of Mars, our minds often move. Rockets, landing modules, robotic arms, rotating cameras. Yet the true story of Mars begins not with movement, but with silence. Mars is silent. But this silence is not emptiness. This silence is a state where time has slowed. If you could truly stand on the Martian surface one day, the first thing you would notice would not be the red soil, not the color of the sky, nor the mountains on the horizon. The first thing you would notice would be the absence of sound. On Earth, even silence carries something. The whisper of wind trembling through tree leaves, the vibration of a car passing in the distance, that indistinct but felt movement created by living things working beneath the soil. On Mars, none of these exist. On Mars, silence is layered, deep, and it draws the human mind in, unnoticed. Mars's atmosphere is approximately 100 times thinner than Earth's. This doesn't only mean you couldn't breathe. It means sound cannot find anything to hold on to either. If something falls, there is no echo. If you take a step, you hear no sound. A shout almost instantly vanishes. Sound cannot manage to exist on Mars. This is why on Mars, silence feels not like a lack, but like a presence, as if the planet has stopped speaking within itself.
And perhaps this is precisely why Mars creates such a powerful gravitational pull for the human mind. Because the human mind does not sit empty in silence. Silence does not quiet the mind. Silence opens the mind. The surface of Mars has changed almost not at all for billions of years. Mountains are in their places. Valleys still carry the traces of waters that dried up millions of years ago. Craters are as if they have sealed time. No place on Earth feels this ancient, because Earth constantly renews itself. Wind erases, water erodes, plants cover, living things conceal traces. Mars, however, preserves. Mars leaves everything as it is. This is why looking at Mars is like looking at the past. But this past is not human past. This is the memory of planets. If you could walk on Mars, every stone you stepped on would be millions of years older than you, and that stone would not notice your existence. This thought is not frightening. On the contrary, it is comforting. Because on Mars, nothing expects anything from you. Mars does not judge you. Mars does not ask you for a role. Mars does not demand that you be fast, productive, successful. Mars simply is, and you, on its surface, simply are. This is an unusual experience for the human mind, because on Earth, existing is not enough. You must be something. You must catch up to somewhere. You must respond to something. On Mars, however, there is no question to be answered. Days there are longer. A Martian day, a sol, is approximately 40 minutes longer than an Earth day. Even this small difference disrupts time perception. On Mars, time does not feel familiar. The sun rises, but at a different angle. Shadows lengthen, but not as you're accustomed to. Evening comes, but as if it is not in a hurry. This slowness creates a strange effect on the human mind. The mind's rhythm loosens. The spaces between thoughts lengthen. Ideas begin to glide without colliding with each other. It is interesting to imagine what sleep would be like on Mars. The sky does not become a deep black like on Earth. The fine dust in the atmosphere scatters light. Night carries a darkness tinged with deep red. Stars appear sharper, but the sky is more silent. Martian nights do not give the feeling of being watched. On the contrary, they give the feeling of no one is there. This feeling does not have to be frightening, because there is a difference between loneliness and being left alone. On Mars, you are left alone, and this is exactly what is needed. Wind blows on the surface of Mars, but this wind does not create a sound like on Earth. It is more like dust slowly changing places. Dust. Mars's true character is dust. It enters everywhere, covers everything, equalizes everything over time. Mars's dust has circulated over the planet for billions of years, lifted by storms, settled, risen again, and it is still there. This dust once lay at the bottom of flowing rivers, accumulated at the edges of lakes, perhaps once hosted microscopic life forms. Today, that possibility is silent, but not completely erased. This is one of the things that makes Mars so fascinating, the possibility of the past. Mars carries the words, once upon a time, once warmer, once wetter, once more alive. This echo in the mind when looking at the planet, but this echo is not loud. It is like a whisper. Mars does not shout. Mars reminds. And this reminding softens one's view of their own life. Because Mars tells us this, without words, nothing is permanent, but everything leaves a trace. Human life is the same. Moments pass, emotions change, but something remains somewhere. When walking on Mars, you feel your own thoughts slowing down as well. The mind loses its need to explain itself. Instead of producing meaning, it turns toward being. This state is very close to sleep, but different from.
If you are still here, even the feeling of being here has weakened now. You are not following anything. You are not trying to understand anything. Words may be reaching your ears, but they are not entering. This is good, because at this point, words are no longer for guidance, but for companionship. The Martian night opens its silence a little more, but this silence is not emptiness. There is no weight in it, no expectation, no after. The mind no longer asks questions because it no longer needs answers. The body remembers its own rhythm. Breath may not deepen, but it softens. The chest is a bit freer. Shoulders release downward. The jaw relaxes without noticing. You do not try to do these things. They simply happen. On Mars, nights are long, but length does not mean time. It is simply a form of existence that knows no rush. After a while, thoughts become completely shapeless. They are no longer sentences, not even concepts. They come like a feeling, and they go before coming. They are not followed, not held. Because they are not held, they do not become heavy. The Martian night does not teach you this. It has no intention to teach anyway. It simply reminds that everything can continue on its way without your intervention. Your heart beats, breath comes, cells work, even if you do not say, I. This realization lightens a person because for a moment the sense of responsibility dissolves. You do not need to carry anything. Earth, Mars, the universe, all work independently of you. And this is not frightening. On the contrary, it is comforting. Because this means you can rest, truly. After a certain point, dreams begin, but you do not notice that they have begun, because noticing requires wakefulness. Dreams come without being noticed, just like sleep, just like night, just like Mars. The red planet now completely silent, but this silence belongs to you. No one asks anything of you, not to think, not to remember, not to understand, only to let go. And you are letting go. This story is no longer being told, it is resting. Words are slowly withdrawing, sound is blending into the background, and you can sleep without going anywhere. The Martian night is here, and this is enough. Good night.